Hey everyone, this is Zach Attack Reviews. I'm Zach, and today I'm going to break down the good and the bad of Disney Plus new series, The Moon Knight. Is it a limited series? Is it a season one? Who knows anymore? They've been back and forth on that, but I'm excited to talk to you guys about this new Marvel show. I was really interested in it because I'm a big fan, or like a new big fan of Moon Knight. Started collecting his comics a couple of years ago, and I thought he was a very interesting and unique character. And then I saw that they casted Oscar Isaac, who I think is a phenomenal actor, to do this. So I was really interested to see the way they take it, because Moon Knight has like 50 years worth of history, and he's been changed so much. So I want to see what version we were getting. I didn't see any trailers going in. So I'm excited to talk about this movie with you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Moon Knight, and also hit that like button and hit the subscribe button and notification bell as well. Let's do this. So what is Moon Knight about? It is about Stephen Grant and Mark Spector, two very distinct and different people living inside the same body. Yes, this Moon Knight has DID, dissociative identity disorder, where he has multiple personalities, but they're not aware of each other for the most part. Usually they're not aware of each other. In this show, one is more aware of the other, and this show is an exploration of that, while also Mark Spector is trying to be the, I guess, vigilante known as Moon Knight, because he serves an Egyptian god named Khonshu, and the show kind of just goes from there, with Stephen finding out this second life that he's had this whole time that he didn't even know. Right off the bat, I have to give a big shout out. This is the biggest shout out that you can give for this show. It's the hook of the show. It's why you should watch it. It's Oscar Isaac as Stephen Grant, Mark Spector. Not really Moon Knight. I think that he does a phenomenal job. If you saw WandaVision, even if you didn't like the show, you know that Elizabeth Olsen did a fantastic job as Wanda in that show. And I think that Oscar Isaac is elevated up to that level in terms of acting in this show, maybe even more, because he had so much he had to do in terms of accents and body language and creating these different characters that feel like they're linked together but very different at the same time. It was fascinating watching him over these past 6 episodes go in and out between the different personalities. Start Stephen Grant figuring out all these cool things, because he works in an Egyptian museum, so he's very interested in this subject and all the culture and artifacts. So for him to find out that he serves an Egyptian god, he's going to be traveling across the world and stuff like that, he's been doing these things this whole time, was fascinating to see. But also his struggle with knowing that his life is not the way he thought it was, because as we go through that first episode, we watch him like kind of have this sad existence, this lonely existence, and then you find out he's not really alone. He has another person inside of him, and then it gets elevated when Meg Calloway, who plays Layla, the personality Mark, the assassin, the mercenary, that's his wife. And seeing that interaction between her and Stephen was really interesting as well. She brought a lot of heart to the show. She brought a lot of spunk to it as well, and I really enjoyed her performance as well. And Ethan Hawke, I think he did a great job as playing Arthur Harrow, a former avatar for Khonshu. If you're an avatar, you are somebody, no, you're not bending water or doing all the elements or disappearing for 1,000 years. You are holding it down for Khonshu, because the Egyptian gods are not allowed to directly affect things that are going on with humans, or they're not supposed to. So when you're the avatar, you are the person that basically does their will. And Khonshu wants to inflict vengeance on people who would cause harm to people during the night. That's where it comes from, like the Moon Knight. And I think the awesome visuals and the music and the Egyptian culture and artifacts and everything that they brought in here with the Egyptian gods and that world building was really, really interesting. This show feels like it could be in any universe. It doesn't feel like it has to be in the MCU, because there's barely any references. No talk about Avengers, no cameos, no anything that makes you feel like it's linked to the MCU other than like one little tiny Easter egg that's on a bus. Other than that, this feels like a standalone story, and I think that it benefits from it because you get to focus on the character and this world that it's building, because a lot of the 6 episodes is building out the Egyptian god MCU lore. Also, we're exploring Steven and Mark's childhood, why they're like this, who was the original, is there another one? And then also on the other side, Ethan Hawke, he's a cultist, he's a cult leader, and he's serving a different god. And the conflict here is that he doesn't believe in Khonshu's way anymore, and he has another guy named Ammit who judges people before they commit the crime. They get rid of them before they actually commit the crime, versus Khonshu, who wants to stop them when they're right before they do it, or right as they're doing it, because he wants to give people a chance to make those choices. Ammit wants to take away that free will. So that was an interesting through line there about free will versus stopping evil before it even happens. Which one is right, which one is wrong? I think that could be an interesting debate to have. Let me know what you think in the comments below, which god was right. And I think that the visual style of the show, the music, the action was all done pretty well. The dialogue was pretty funny and interesting, and I think that all the actors brought it in terms of an acting standpoint. And Ethan Hawke sometimes is okay, and obviously if you've been watching the show, if you heard a little bit of the controversy with him speaking Mandarin but it being a bunch of gibberish and not actually meaning anything, but besides that, I think he did a great job as well. But my 2 big takeaways that I really enjoyed from this is the exploration of Mark and Steven's psyche. We really get to see why they tick, why they do the things they do, and all the trauma that they've been through that led them into the position they are now. And then versus that being coincided with the Egyptian god struggle and how they kind of coalesce together in that final act in the last episode. I thought all that was very, 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 very intriguing, and I enjoyed all the characters and how they executed all those things. And visually, the show was stunning. A lot of the places that we got to go, we weren't just in a city or a couple towns. They really got interesting, going to tombs, the afterlife, and doing different things like that, where it made this show stand out and feel very unique compared to other MCU TV shows so far. And even though all the episodes weren't super strong to me, I think that episode 4 and 5 were some of the best TV that I've seen all year, and some of the best MCU episodes, especially episode 5. I think that they did a really great job with bringing all the elements that I like to the forefront and leaving some of the weakness behind in those episodes. I think those are absolutely fantastic and worth watching the show just to see the way they executed that. Now let's talk about the bad. With that exploration and explaining in that world building, the first 3, maybe say 2.5 episodes were kind of paced poorly. If you're not super fascinated by Oscar Isaac's performance and you really wanted something juicy from the story, you're expecting this really good MCU action-packed, comedy-filled story, it's not. I don't think it's like that. It's not as funny as it's supposed to be, because I feel like if there was a little bit more comedy, and I know I'm always saying that everything doesn't have to be funny, but I think with a story like this, if you're gonna dwell with subjects that are this dark in terms of like DID and the traumas that go through that, and then also combine it with the Egyptian god lore, I think that a little bit more comedy on that side and also a little bit more action on the Egyptian god side would make those first 3 episodes easier to stomach. I felt sometimes I was a little bored watching it, and that might come down to the actual filmmaking as well. There's not a lot of great camera shots or interesting stylistic choices that they make in terms of how they capture a lot of it, except for like one instance that they do, but that's like later in the season, starting in like episode 4, 5, and 6, when we start to really explore what the story is actually about. And unfortunately, I feel like these Marvel shows, they need more episodes, they need more time, and that was really more apparent here inside of Moon Knight. In terms of the 6-episode format, I've been saying this since Falcon and Winter Soldier, it does not work out really great. I know a lot of people like to watch quickly and they'll have to spend a whole bunch of time with shows, but it is sacrificing the story and the character development, especially for secondary characters, and just sticking to landing. The finale was disappointing. A lot of the stuff that they built up in the first 5 episodes feel like it gets put to the wayside, and Layla, who they try to make us care about a lot in this show, and she gets an important role towards the end, we don't even get any final resolutions with her trauma and what she was struggling with, and like just what happened to her. And it becomes this big giant battle and a fight amongst gods and all these different things that I felt like the show didn't build up perfectly towards to. I enjoyed the finale, but I wanted a little bit more. And the action throughout the show was okay, but the one thing I give the finale is that the action was really, really great in the finale. But other than that, the way the story was presented and how it ended, I think was a little weak. But so on my verdict, I think that Moon Knight was a really, really great show. Really, really good. I don't think it was great. I really enjoyed it. I think there was aspects missing to make it a great show. I think visually it was very interesting with the cinematography. The music was very different. The Oscar Isaac was phenomenal. It was almost a one-man show, but I have to give a shout out to the actress that played Layla, Maya. She did a great job as well. Ethan Hawke, I think, played a very toned down cult leader, and I think if he handed up just a bit, not too much, he could have elevated to a great villain to me. Obviously Ethan Hawke is a great actor, but I just feel like what he was given, he didn't get to do much to really, like, if I'm gonna really remember him like in a couple months, you know? Overall, I really like the show, and I'm gonna give it a C+. What do you think of Moon Knight? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? Comment down below your thoughts, and also about this video. Give it a like, hit the subscribe button, and that notification bell. And if you want to watch more of my content, you can watch more right now.